everybody? What's happening? It's Nomad Live with my guys. We got what? Before we get into that, man, let me say we're starting this off with a little somber note right here. Samuel had an emergency in the family. I won't get into specifics about that, but I will say this: I'm sending out good vibrations to him, and I'm sure he can use any kind of him and his family can use all the good vibrations they could get. Maybe going through a tough spell right here, and yeah, man, just good vibrations to Samuel and his family, man. I think they're gonna need him.
Prayers up for sure for Samuel. Prayers up, my brother.
Yeah. It's a heavy weight to carry, but you can handle it. You and the fam. Much love out to you. All of them maniacs got your back, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that's it.
Let me shout out to the guys in the chat. Dobbsy 34, Oliver, who did I see? Mr. Mayhem, Plank, King Buka World, Creighton Wolfong, Muck the General, Bradley Remy. Let me see. Ryan Slash. I'm gonna butcher his name. Ryan Slashner. I just messed that all up. I know I did. Jay Grizz.
Don't forget Damon 1599.
Damon 1599. Yes, sir.
Matt Nagy.
You got a Matt Nagy sighting.
I don't know how much love I got from Matt Nagy, but thanks for coming to the show, brother. Thanks for coming.
IP man Tay. Yeah, everybody, man. Dion Buford, I see you down there. Everybody, man. Appreciate you guys for showing up. And let's
Tay, you do that. You do that Wing Chun? Or is it just about the move? We'll leave it alone. What are you saying, man?
No, I'm misunderstanding what you're asking me.
No, I'm asking Ip Man Tay if he practices Wing Chun, because that's an Ip Man. That's what an Ip Man is. And I straight up learned that yesterday. Got to watch them movies one of these days.
Not what? Who?
It looks like he said nope.
Hitman is a person.
Yes.
Hey man.
Nope.
Listen, man. Okay, so we'll get into the title of the thumbnail, which is should Justin Fields play preseason game 1? I want to talk about that right away, but let's get into some of the injuries and who practiced and who didn't. We'll do that first. Tyree Carter was in with the starters at right guard. Nate Davis was at practice, but no pads. Out of pads, Lucas Patrick, DeMarcus Walker, Terrell Lewis, Dylan Cole, Mercedes Lewis. Dante Pettis is in now. He just came off of I think it's NFI. I think non-football injury.
Injury, yeah.
Just got him off of that. Briscoe was not practicing. Terrell Smith, Travis Homer, and Eddie Jackson is back at practice. Chase Claypool pulled a hammy today in practice in a route with Tariq Stevenson. Didn't go back into practice. Tevin Jenkins left practice. Someone said on Twitter that he lost his lunch and he came back in, so he was all right. But I think that's about it for the injury. So, yeah, with that being said, let me start by addressing the Nate Davis, because I think the Nate Davis thing is getting it's starting to get a little out of control. Why? Because somebody got something?
I'm just saying it's out of control with reason, right? Like you know how fans are. Fans are going to go crazy in a situation like this. Why don't we see him? Why can't we see him? What's up with him? How's he doing? Is he doing good? We have no answers to any of those questions simply because he's not on the field, and it sucks. But like I caught your tweet, and if it's just vet situation where he wants to save himself, he's familiar, he's good to go, he's doing walkthroughs because he has been on the sideline. Then maybe it's less, maybe we're just all overreacting. It is really where I think Nomad is going to go with all this.
I believe 100%.
I can't argue with that.
I believe 100%. A lot of the fan base are like little infants, and I'm not talking bad about anybody. It feels like looking at and listening to little infants in a high chair, slapping down on the high chair. Give me my ice cream. Guess what, guys? There's context to it. He's a veteran, and he's probably trying to wiggle his way out of putting his body through the rigors of training camp. I'm pretty sure. like people are starting to get a little upset also about Tremaine Edmonds. Now I'll speak to this in particular. Tremaine Edmonds, I can guarantee there's nothing wrong with him at all. What's going on is the guy playing behind him. The guy playing behind him on the depth chart is Noah Sewell. He's a rookie. The rookie, you want to know what he has, right? So you have to get him in there and get reps with the ones. He's not going to get many reps with Tremaine Edmonds suited up and ready to go. So you gotta get him in there and get 1 reps. He's got to get the green dot, and what the green dot means, he's got the mic on and he's making the calls in the defense. He's got to be able to handle the workload. And so when the calls come in, get the calls out in the right kind of time. Get the line slid each direction it needs to go. Get through your keys, your checks, all of that stuff. They need to see what the rookie can handle. So I believe there's 100% nothing wrong with Tremaine Edmonds at all. I think they just want to see more Noah Sewell. And so to me, that's what the whole deal is with that. My fault, Trip.
All right, no worries. Excuse me, no worries. I'm going to be part of the voice of the chat here. Matt Nagy, of course, is he said, "No man calling the Bear fans crybabies. Love it. He knows where the Bear fans are at."
I was not. I was. Sometimes some of the fan base act like infants. Gimme, like calm down.
Right. And Damon is saying, we're talking about practice. You know, guys being banged up, and that goes along with Jay Grizz's comment. I'd rather the bumps and bruises and injuries occur now while we're in camp to be healthy full go game 1. And I concur with that. I understand Nate Davis being out. He was out, you know, through the walkthroughs and the first few weeks of the camp. So he's not going to come in full pads and be going. You know, I expect him to ramp up as well. You know, Edmonds, he's a professional. You know, there's nothing that he needs to be out there that he's going to learn about. You know, he's teaching from the sidelines. And give those young guys a chance to show what they get, you know. But the cry part comes in from, there's like, hey, why? What these guys on the field? What's going on? You know, they're hurt, or in the case of Patrick, they're hurt again. You know, it's like it becomes to a point of, yes, it's next man up, and we want to test our depth, but the depth is only goes so far. And you want to see the guys that were signed and drafted produce and be on the field, you know, as much as possible. But, you know, I get the aspect of, you know, it's a physical game and, you know, nicks and bruises are going to hurt. And I'll finish up by saying that the most concerning thing that I've heard was Claypool. Because, I mean, he's a goddamn wide receiver and all they do is run. And hammies, you know, those are the injuries that keep giving for months and months at a time when it gets cold and all of that. And it's just, I'm not blaming Chase. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. I'm just saying hamstrings or injuries in general are bad, but damn it. Go ahead.
Kids.
I don't know, man. What do you got, no man?
Man, I know this, man. We're going through a physical training camp, and you're gonna have those. You're gonna have little nicks. You're gonna have little knacks. The best thing about it is we got a month into game 1, so nobody's in a rush to have to hurry up and get on the field. He's got time to heal, whatever it may be. I heard he was walking around just fine. You know, I don't want to spend too much time with that. That's just normal stuff that happens in every training camp every year on every team. There's no reason to panic about any of it. You know, it's just the rigors of putting your body through labor. Man. That's all it is, man. This is what happens, man. So I don't want to speak on that too long. What they came here to talk about is it a wise move to play your starting quarterback preseason game 1 in particular, game 1? Generally, I would say no. Why? It's because when you have a more established quarterback that's familiar with the system 2, 3, 4 years in, you don't really need to put a quarterback through something like that. When you have a quarterback that is finally getting acclimated to the system and is feeling comfortable and kind of making it his own, and kind of with all these new pieces on offense, whether it be receivers, tight ends, pieces on the offensive line. What you're looking for is, first of all, as a coach, you're looking for command. Can he command it all? Can he go up under situations with live bullets firing and command the offense? Can he get the plays out in time? Can he put receivers in the right spots when he detects what's going on with the defense? Can he execute? Right? So it's a lot of things going on there, man. And then you're not going to get to the whole, all right, he's really starting to click now, because it's going to be no more than 2 series at the top, at the most. 2 series, and that's it. And so what you're looking for is, does what you see in the practice field translate with live bullets flying? So that's all the coaches are looking for. Okay, can you take the success and the changing of the changing of cadences and things of that nature, getting sets and timing, all of that stuff. You have to get all that, and you need to see if it translates to the actual football field. So that's all they're looking for.
Well, you got to give it up to Matt Nagy. Never play his starters in the preseason, huh? Mad jokes with that one. I will leave it alone. You did what you did, coach. We saw the results of it. If there's any real and true worry about Justin Fields getting injured or something to that effect in this preseason game, then you may want to second guess putting him out there front facing center. But there's things they can do. Hell, they could put him in for a series in the 4th, so that the odds of him being up against the first team is probably minimal. There's ways that they could work this all in. I'll be honest, I'm gonna doubt that that's what they'll do. They'll probably put him out there against the first team to see what happens. There's angles here, but do we really need to see him this week? Not necessarily.
There's only 3 preseason games to tune up, because you don't want to go into week 1 of the regular season. All right, fellas, let's get on the same page now and let's get it rolling. You kind of want to have some momentum and understanding of where everybody's going to be. Everybody's on the same page in the book with the audibles and what have you. So you got to gear up to that. Speaking of gearing up, so that starts in preseason game 1. Whether it be like 2 series, just put something on tape that you worked on, that you improved on, that you can look at in the offensive meetings and say, yeah, we did that right. Or if we did not do that right, here's why. Against a defense that doesn't necessarily know what's coming, because now you're opposing somebody than your own team. So don't game plan. I'm not saying it like that, but put something specific down so you get that feeling. Then let the backups come in. And then as the preseason progresses, now you give them a quarter, then maybe you give them a half, or you give them a quarter and then another quarter. But you keep that momentum going. You just don't not play them.
Well, I can tell you for certain it's going to be a very specific game plan that's going to be very scripted, whatever they go out there and ask them to do. And it's going to be designed around the people in front of him, the people who he's playing with. It's all to see if some of the things that they're hoping to see out of Justin and the rest of those guys around him, does it translate with live bullets? Of course, it looks good in practice when nobody's hitting each other. Let's see what happens when the bullets fly, and we ask them to do this, we ask them to do that. And so it's very logical. And the answer is unequivocally yes. They definitely need to play him and get him a series or 2 in, and just to see if he can go out there and line them up, get off what they're trying to get off, and execute it well. That's the idea. However it looks, I wouldn't be so quick to judge, but it's going to make people run to and jump to conclusions about whatever it is, even if it's really good. If it's really bad, either way, it's going to be people jumping to conclusions. But I wouldn't worry too much about it, is because, that's what preseason and training camp is for, is to get stuff installed, use the pieces that you have around you, and see how well you can execute those things. And so it's not going to be anything highly out of the ordinary. They just want to see if he can execute it at a high level, and then they'll add more to the plate next time.
Now, I'll double down on what you're saying. And, an area that they did well in last year was really just coming out and actually executing their game plan on that first drive. So I wouldn't be surprised if they run her down, execute that game plan, and decide to pull him out if things, regardless as to how things work out. It's really much more of a situation where there's going to be something specific that they want to accomplish and test out, and we'll see what that looks like.
Trip, nothing else? You good on that?
Yeah, just you gotta as Damon is saying, a dress rehearsal. You can't worry about injuries. You don't want to push the issue, but can't wrap these guys in bubble wrap. You gotta let them go out there and bang around a little bit.
I mean, I'll wrap this conversation up with this, man, because I think if it was pretty much any other quarterback in the league, like you don't go out there with Mahomes with the system they have established and throw him out there preseason. You gain nothing by that. He has the system down, and it's about I think they trust him. I know they trust him. They just want to see if the practice field and the playing field coincides with what they've seen so far. That's all it is. And they'll throw a few things at him to do to kind of, it's basically satisfying their curiosity, basically quenching their thirst for, is Justin ready to do this? And that's all it's going to be about, whether it's one series or two. That's what it's going to be all about. But that being said, I hope that satisfies everybody's. I hope we got into the reasons why it's definitely a good idea to play Justin Fields preseason 1. He needs those reps. But, hey, man, there's a guy, man, that I've been talking about that keeps forcing me to keep talking about it. Damn Noah Sewell, man. I'm looking at, I follow Jason McKee and a bunch of other reporters. Jason McKee is a reporter, you guys. He's going to be a sideline reporter for ESPN 1000. And so I pay close attention to what he's seeing out there on the sidelines. And he's effusive in his praise about Noah Sewell. And everybody I've heard mention Noah Sewell at the podium, anybody talking about Noah Sewell, whether it be a reporter, Jason McKee, anybody, they are raving about this cat, man. And I'm telling you, I love what I'm hearing. This dude is flying around. He's really making plays, and he's got the load on him in the last few days since Tremaine went down. He's got the load on. He's got the dot on his helmet. He's carrying a workload. When you have that dot on your helmet, a Keds and Triple R, you got the workload. So now you gotta not only get the play, relay the play, turn around, see if you need to change the play based on formation. Read your keys. Watching splits on the line of scrimmage to know if you're dealing with a run or pass. Do all of that stuff and be able to calculate it all in your mind and play fast at the same time. This guy, I think he's impressive. They love what they see about him, and all he's seeming to do is just make plays out there.
Well, that's exactly what you want to see, and it's really unfortunate that that is it Tremaine who's off or TJ? Tremaine's off, right?
Tremaine.
So with Tremaine on the sideline, from what I'm hearing as well, is that he's helping to coach the kid up, and that is great. We're getting the opportunity, or they're getting the opportunity to put Sewell in a fantastic position to do all the learning that he can possibly do before he gets some actual live action. And I would be surprised if he doesn't get a large chunk of action in Indy.
You go ahead, Trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the on-field presence, that's good. Nice to see. But it was also noted that I saw in somebody's tweet, X-tweet, hey, his mama named him Cassius Clay. I'm going to call him Cassius Clay on Twitter. Was that after practice, Noah Sewell took the time to, speak some sign language to a audibly challenged, kid on the side. And it's like, aw. And that shows that he has a nice mentality, a nice heart, for the community, for other people, and that, he's not taking his opportunity for granted. And, that says a lot about the kid's character, like that.
So the guy got in, and he was in with the ones today. Got a pick off Justin and ran it in for a TD. I mean, if you listen to especially Jason McKee, and there are others that's just I mean, praise on this guy like you wouldn't believe, man. And Flus even went to the podium today, and in so many words, he said he's reading his keys really fast, and he's really instinctual. Let me translate that. You turn around after you give out the play, and everything I just said before. You're watching the line splits. You're watching any guys in motion. You're playing the mic, so you're in the middle of the field for the most part, and you have to see everything. You have to do that. And then when the ball snaps, keep your mind on it and then be kind of like first to the ball. He's making plays really fast and being instinctual. And when you know your keys, when you can read your keys really fast, you're going to make a whole lot more plays because now you're playing with 100% instincts. You're playing with your athleticism. Damon 1599, a comp for Noah Sewell. Recently, now this is gonna sound strange, but he's got some Patrick Willis vibes to me. Patrick Willis had some really good. He was very instinctual like that. He's got some serious Patrick Willis vibes to me. Really instinctual, really fast sideline to sideline, and played with a whole lot of power. That's Noah Sewell. And so there you go.
Well, another guy that I don't. Let's see what you got next, no man.
Go ahead, Trip. You want to respond to that?
Nothing really to respond to.
All right, let's get to some other notes, man. This chat is flying, man. I think you got to put up comments a whole lot quicker than you are, bro.
Hey, what is that? Calvin Swanson saying? What does that say? You see that one there, kid? Oh, what does that say, kids? I can't see it real clear. Kid?
Yeah. Oh, the power post compels you?
Oh, that's what that says. Okay, I couldn't see it real good. Okay, right on.
All right, let's get through some notes, man. Ja'Tyre Carter, I think I mentioned, was in with the starters at right guard. Let me see here. Claypool pulled a hammy. DBs was solid in coverage today, all day, especially Kyler Gordon. Again, Justin is really nice in short passing situations right now. That's unanimous across the board with every reporter, every person that I know that's been out there on the field. That is unanimous, man. His quick releases, he's reading, going through his progressions really well and getting the ball out on time. Is that not, people, what we've been complaining about with Justin Fields since the day he got here? Is that not the complaint everybody's had about Justin Fields? And then now Mr. Greg Braggs Jr., brick by brick, is complaining and started a war on Twitter talking about, I need to see more deep balls. I ain't seen enough deep balls. And he started a little problem on Twitter. And people kind of went after him for it, but, when you have, listen, when you're a guy that needed to work on something in the offseason, somebody like Justin that needed to work on his short game and his quick delivery and reading and going through his progressions and dumping that ball down and getting it to your playmakers, the coaches came to him with an emphasis in camp. We know what you can do with your deep ball, Justin. We're not concerned about that. We need to make sure you're efficient. How many times have you heard Eberflus go to the podium and say, I'm just looking for efficiency? That's part of the efficiency. Quick reads, quick delivery of the ball, get it to your playmakers, take what the defense gives you, right? Is that correct?
100%.
And so now he's upgraded that part of his game, and now people are moving the goalpost again, want to complain about it. I'm not talking crazy about Braggs. I think he was just BSing with people for the most part. I'm talking about the other part of the fan base that are constantly looking to move the goalpost and have something to complain about Justin about. And so it's kind of aggravating, especially when you have to do podcasts all the time and have to respond to that. But it's really silly, man. I mean, because I'll go ahead because I'll go on all day about this.
I'll start off here. I think it's all excuse me. Also, whatever deficiency a player has, that's going to be what people poke at until that they don't see that deficiency anymore. And so they're going to hold on to that until, Justin changes that narrative. It's good to see and hear about, happening in practice. Now, once it starts happening regularly and throughout the season and, this offense is having success, it'd be like, oh yeah, that was one of the things that was one of his problems when he came into the league. Yo, year 3, he fixed that. Now look at the progress he's made. So, that's just something that he knew that he had to address, and he's worked on it, and it looks like it's showing some progress. So more of that, please.
That's where we all wanted, and I said it earlier into the off season here. That's what you wanted to look at. You wanted to look at the short game. You want to look at yak case scenario, yak. Like if we're talking DJ Moore, DJ Moore's a yak guy. If you get him into space, he can make crazy stuff appear. Just create some stuff. As can Velus Jones, as can Chase Claypool. Darnell Mooney has similar capabilities. And then you think about deep ball case scenario for Tyler Scott. And I'm not trying to say Tyler Scott isn't a yak guy because we just haven't seen it. He's a rookie. That's what they should be practicing. There's only one thing that you can't practice that I don't know how you practice this, but I would like to see more of Justin. I'd like to see Justin do more in the actual season. There's only one thing if they're truly focusing on short game right now. I want to see him know when to chuck the ball away. Sometimes a play is just dead, right? Justin has a bit of a hero complex where he knows he can just take off and go and run and get yardage and score touchdowns from God knows where. Sometimes, though, you just got to toss the ball.
That's called being 20-something years old, not in your own mortality yet. That's
of course,
all it is, man. Everybody felt like that at a point in time in their life. I definitely did. 19, 20-something years old, definitely felt like I could do more, and your body feels like you could. You feel like a superhero, but there's some validity to that, and he definitely. And I heard that he was doing a lot of that in practice today, instead of turning the ball upfield, taking it and going out of bounds, or just tossing it out of bounds. I heard a lot of.
So
that.
I did hear about him taking off and just cutting it out a couple of times, and that's fine too. But realistically, something like it was something that Joe Burrow. I was watching something with Joe Burrow relatively recently, and somebody mentioned that he had a relatively low, low percentage on first and second down, and he was like, "Who cares what down you get the first down on, right? It doesn't matter which one you get it on. It matters if you get it or not." And sometimes you just got to chuck that ball out, man, and live to play the next down.
I totally believe he's evolving right before our eyes, and we're watching the evolution. The process of evolution is it's sometimes slow for some people, but you can see, and based off what you hear, I can just look at his body language out there, and I can see his evolution. He's a lot more calm. He's a lot more steady. He's talking a whole lot more. And so he's growing up. He's becoming a man is what he's doing, and becoming a better football player and becoming savvy at it. And that's what you're looking for. We would love to turn on the TV and see Justin Fields as a 7 to 8 year seasoned veteran, but he's got to become a 7 or 8 year seasoned veteran. But you can make a jump towards that status the more work you put in. This dude he's a straight up work hog, man. This dude is gonna turn that corner, and when he does, we're gonna see everything that we've been looking for and praying for in the city for a quarterback, and people are gonna be pleased with it. I do love the progress, and I love the assets they put around him and the investment they put around him more than anything. Is you can tell that they really believed in this guy after they watched the film in the offseason. They showed him that instead of telling him that. They put the pieces around him to make sure that you will have a chance to excel out there. And I know he knows that, and he's ready to do it. You don't go out there and tell people you're going to throw for that 4,000 yards and don't damn mean it. No, he means it. He's going to deliver that 4,000 yards this year, one way or the other.
It's, that kind of brings me back to Colin Cowherd a little while ago, talking about how Justin is sort of carrying himself. And I want my quarterback to have those types of goals. I was saying something similar to my son just the other day, but you want your quarterback to have lofty goals. You want him to attempt and have that mindset to crush to crush records and things along those lines. We don't want a guy who doesn't have a little bit of a hero complex. And it's funny. I was just poo-pooing on it a minute ago. You do want to have that type of mindset, that level of confidence, because if you don't visualize what you want to do early on, there's the odds of you accomplishing it are much slimmer.
And let's remember, people, Justin Fields has been bred to be a quarterback, so to speak. He's grown up to do this. So now the changes in his actual game that he has to address, he will address, because as we've gone over in one of the previous episodes of the Nomad Live training camp reports, that, they have to know what the deficiencies in their game are to fix them, because he's never had to worry about this before, coming up. So it's a process. He's putting in the work, so don't sweat it. We got the guy that we think is the guy. And so make sure you are staying with us. You are logged in, subscribed, hit that notification button to the Nomad Network. Follow us on the Facebook pages for the Nomad Network, Nomad Live and Nomad at Night. And big up to all the Nomaniacs out there. We see you, Clarence. We see you, Patty. We see you, Plank. Much love for the promotion, telling people to like and being out there, just guerrilla warfare style. And they're like, yo, Nomad Network, what's up. So, yeah, big up to all y'all. And let's watch this development of our QB1 and hope that he is who we think he is, in a good way, of course. Rest in peace, Denny Green.
So it's called Ascension, and that's what we're watching right before our eyes. For those who are not familiar, it's called Going Up, and that's what's happening with this guy, man. And if you can't see it, then I can't poo-poo you for it. All I can tell you is look a little bit closer. The details are all there, and so we'll just end that conversation with that. Another guy that I've been talking about quite a bit, and a lot of people have been talking against this guy quite a bit. I was listening to Hogan Johns last night, and I think they did that show earlier that morning, I think right before practice. So what they were speaking on were things that happened before that. And Adam Johns stuck his neck out there and said, listen here, man, I don't think people realize how good Trestan Ebner is looking in this camp. Everybody's wrote him off, and I've tried to tell everybody time and time again, listen, don't be so quick to the trash bin with this guy. He and Eberflus went to the podium today and spoke on him. Somebody asked him a question. Hey, how's Ebner is looking good out there? Why is that? And Eberflus responded, and I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, because he's got a year under his belt. Now he understands the offense. Now he's not guessing about where he needs to go as the play develops, and he can play fast. He understands what's going on, and he's not thinking out there, and you're seeing a different player now. And to add to that, today he was really nice in the passing game and ripped off on the ground as well, ripped off a 70-yard TD. So you got that going on. You haven't heard anybody else in the backfield ripping off a 70-yard TD yet, have you? So you have that.
Fine. All right. So maybe Trestan Ebner is going to make the team. Fine. Maybe I was wrong. But realistically, it has a lot to do with Travis Homer just not showing up. But it's got a lot to do with Trestan Ebner is now being given that opportunity once more. I know he didn't look the part last year when he was given the opportunity in live action. If he's getting it done after a year in the system and an offseason to get his mind right, perfect. That's exactly what we want to see.
I apologize for interrupting. I just want to point something out to you. I think you got the roles that Ebner and Homer play. I mean, he's going to play some. Homer's going to play some running back, but they want him for teams, special teams in particular. That's why he's here, and to back up that running back core. So he's not slated to really get a whole lot of reps at running
actual
back.
Reps.
Yeah. He's not fighting to be the number one running back.
Yeah, right? He's not even fighting to be the number 4 running back. He's there to back them all up. And his value will come on special teams. Not to say he doesn't have something to offer, because he does. and it'd be nice to see him out there, but they are more interested in developing these young guys that they have. So he'll be probably last on the totem pole in touches unless it comes down to some bad injuries.
Well, I'm just saying, if somebody is on the bubble out of that running back group, it's likely to be Travis Homer at this point. Got to be. Yeah, if it's somebody out of those,
I think he makes
7 guys
somehow. Somehow they keep him on
just out of special teams, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll cut a fullback just to keep him, and just keep one fullback and use a tight end for a backup or something.
But they drafted the other fullback. I just don't see
Well,
them
they can put him on a
draft
practice
pick.
squad, you
Right,
know.
right, and hope nobody grabs him. But they're not gonna. If they
Travis Homer?
No. Oh, the fullback. They might put the fullback.
Okay. Good call. That's a good call.
So yeah,
that's actually a really good spot for him too, because odds of him getting poached are relatively slim. That actually makes a lot more sense.
And then also in this league, you know, while the running back is devalued, the fullback seems even less. So if we have our was he a late round guy or UDFA guy?
Who was that?
What's his name? The fullback.
Robert Burns. He's a
Robert Burns. UDFA. So if we can put, you know, our, you know, UDFA fullback on the practice squad, you know, now maybe that, you know, lessens those numbers that you have to determine what happens in the running back / fullback room. And then there has to be some sort of / tight end, you know, guy who can fill in that way as well. But as far as Ebner goes, it's like, well, what the heck? A second year guy showing improvement, cool, you know, because let the rookies be rookies. I think we do put too many expectations on them. You know, they have to acclimate, they have to learn. And now that he knows kind of what's doing, he can let his natural talents and abilities show out. So now instead of thinking, he can just go. He knows, it's like, oh, I'm going that way. And, you know, there is no limit to the possibilities, as he does have the nice hands out of the backfield that he showed at Baylor, as well as running the rock. So these are good problems to have as far as, well, who's on the bubble? Who do we get rid of? It's like, let the camp determine that, because we have very good options that go deep.
So, Trip, if I said to you as a rookie, you're a rookie running back, what you do is you run the ball, don't you? You run the ball, you catch the ball out of the backfield, you block when they tell you to, right? What do you do when you go to a new offense and you go in the huddle and you hear prototype right, double X slide, Z fly, 2-wing gap motion on 2. Now you sitting up there behind this quarterback, and it's all a design. It's
double slide, right?
That's how crazy the verbiage is when you listen to a West Coast offensive call. It's that kind of verbiage.
Now give us an example of like a college verbiage.
Oh, I mean, offense. I played defense. I mean, it was simple stuff, man. It was similar to that, but it was really simplified. I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but
but I mean, it wasn't as long as verbiage, not as many words, and he knew from his position group, I go here and I run behind that guy. Whereas now he's got to figure out, okay, I got to run behind that guy unless this happens, and if that happens, I got to do that. You know, a lot of thinking going on. Whereas now, I'm sure he consumed a lot of that playbook over the offseason, and he can go out there and ball.
So it's he didn't even run a similar, even in the same ballpark as this in college. So it was all new to him. And so by the time he's thinking in the huddle, okay, I'm pretty sure, okay, this is a running play to the left side. This is a wide zone to the left side. And I'm supposed to wait for this to happen. And so he's looking at the backs of jerseys. He's looking to see maybe the center's left shoulder turn towards him before he presses the gap and go inside the center. You know, those are the kind of things running backs are thinking about as they're going to the line of scrimmage. You're talking about a rookie in first year in the NFL, first year in this offense. And I'm doing my best. I'm bending over backwards to try to help our viewers and the fans of this show understand why you see certain things, why certain players don't play the way you saw them play in college, why you didn't get the performance that you thought you were getting when we drafted this guy. Those are the kind of reasons why. Now the understanding is there. Now the comfortability is there, and you'll see a faster player. You'll see a more explosive player that makes big plays, like you're starting to hear about in camp. It's those little things like that unless you are understood about what really goes on in that particular type of offense, you kind of left to basically your worst impulse and to say, he's crap, let's get rid of him. And when you're not really understood, and I'm just trying to explain it, and I hope I did my job with that.
Yeah, I think you're pretty clear, pretty concise. Well, not really concise, but yeah, I think the message has been delivered and received.
Yeah. So yeah, he really, I mean, can't say enough about Trestan Ebner right now. I think he's trending up. I'm buying stock in him, definitely. Deontay Foreman went down with a tweak today. Also, right after Chase Claypool went down with the hammy, EQ right behind him rolled his ankle or some kind of injury. So that's not good. I mean, we know what EQ brings to the table. We know what he brings to the offense. We're not so interested in seeing him, but he's pretty much the big backup to Chase Claypool, that body type. And so, yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of young receivers are going to get a whole lot of snaps this preseason, man. So, I just hate hearing that kind of stuff, but hopefully it's just a sprain, and he'll just be all right in a week or two, man. But just that kind of stuff really pisses me off. But it's training camp, and you'll have that kind of stuff. Mooney he's starting to trend up in practice.
Cool.
You're hearing his name a lot more since he came back from that injury. Every practice, it seems like he's adding more to his game. Also, penetration on defense, man. Javon Dexter, his name came up quite a few times today in the notes. So you guys want to speak on him? I think in his presser yesterday, he said some things that were pretty revealing. I think for the second time, but I'll reiterate it for him just in case people didn't get a chance to see that. People were asking him about his get off and what is it, versus his college scheme versus now what makes it different. And kind of Zach Pickens said the same thing at the presser today. He's like, man, it was a controlled pass rush. Basically, it was you move when the guard moves or the center moves, you move the direction the guard or center goes. It wasn't a get up the field, punch and get up the field. No, it's move when the center goes or the guard goes and then get up the field. So there's not a necessity for you to get off the ball fast. And they're trying to, if you heard Zach Pickens and his presser today, get in their heads that you have to remember, man, they're asking you to attack. All of the reps, all of the mental reps he's got from playing the scheme that he played in college, it takes a minute for that to wash over you, and you get that out of your system so you get used and acclimated to the attack style that we play here in Chicago. And before you know it, I bet you 2 or 3 games in, you'll start seeing them getting a whole lot more punch and pressure. Not to say that you won't see it week 1, but you'll start seeing more and more of it consistently as the season goes on.
When I move, you move, just like we don't do that here, sir. We get off the ball and we get that penetration and pressure. He's a rookie that's learning it. His first camp, he has yet to play a professional NFL down. So, the realization, the self-assessment, there seems to be a theme going along with the players that are able to do that. And, I'm looking forward to him just being able to finally really unleash his physical skills as well, because Dexter as well as Pickens were credited for pressures enough to be sacks, but they didn't obviously sack. I guess they raised a hand or something to denote that, would have been a sack. Hey, coach, right here, he's down, but they let the play continue. And so, yeah, that's that up the middle pressure that will make our secondary better, our linebackers better, our defensive ends better, because opposing offenses are going to have to account for these guys, and they're going to be a problem to opposing defenses. So, yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the get off, and that's fine. Hopefully, he will improve that, and I know that's what they're going to work on mainly as they move forward. Personally, though, I'm hoping that he's a bit of a factor in the run game, and I'm hearing that he is. Eberflus more or less said as much in his presser today. So I think the arrow's trending up for Gervon Dexter, and I'm happy with that. I'm also happy to hear again Zach Pickens' name, just like you're saying, Triple R in the previous presser. He was somebody I was really looking to hear much more noise about and hadn't heard anything. And Eberflus was just gushing about him yesterday too. So it's that interior is starting to look a little bit more stout and less like a sieve. Last year it was very worryful. I think I think we're trending in the right direction for sure.
And also, Nomad, I saw that in the notes from camp today that Billings, speaking of interior pressure, had a couple sacks.
Yeah, I mean, Billings has been doing what Billings does throughout the whole camp. I think he surprised a whole lot of people because if you didn't watch the tape and you just saw Billings, his stat line or something like that, look at his size and weight. Oh, we got a really big. No, this guy can move, man. This guy really can move, and he's probably improved his movement by, trimming his body fat down a little bit and adding to the muscle. And he's probably gotten a whole lot quicker and more explosive. And that's what you want from a one. You know what I mean? And he's not always going to play one. He's going to play three. He's going to move up and down the line. All of them will. Every last one of them. But he's going to play primarily at one. He'll move him to different spots sometimes, but he's going to play one. But no, it doesn't surprise me at all. I've seen it all on tape. He's been quick his whole career, but getting even quicker just goes to show you an experienced, seasoned veteran can still improve on things about his game if you put the extra work in. They asked him to change his body. He accepted the challenge, and look at the results. And I can't wait to see him out there on Sunday. Here's another name that stood out today. This is per my man J-Mac, ESPN 1000. Keep your eye on UDFA Micah Baskerville. 2 picks today. And we were just speaking about our boy Roshan. One of the picks came off of a ball, went right through his hand, boom, right to Baskerville, who's playing backup to the backup wheel. So he's fighting for a spot out there, and he's making a name for himself too.
Yeah, lots of good words about Baskerville. Another thing that seemed to jump out at me, and it's something that I was saying before, like right when they pulled Mercedes Lewis over to change directions a little bit here. When they brought him on, I really thought that he would be there more for a developmental case scenario because, again, he's familiar with the system. He's familiar with Getsy, and he can kind of speak to that. And he's already starting to take some of these guys under his wing and give them a little bit of history and tutelage as to how the NFL's offense has changed over the time that he's been here. At 39 years old, he's seen a lot of different things, and he's sharing that with the team as we speak. He was sharing that with them today. In any event, kind of hype about that situation too. I'm liking what Poles has done.
Yeah, definitely. Just about to mention that, Derek, there in the chat. I saw a tweet from Alex Shapiro, and he was saying that the Hound of Baskerville, that could be his nickname. But no, see, Kaz, he has some culture about him, and that's why he giggled. But nobody else knew what that meant. Either they were too young or not cultured, no civilization whatsoever. Heathens. And they don't understand that the Frazier Thomas hosted family classics back in the day, the Hounds of Baskerville. It's like a Sherlock Holmes thing. And Baskerville is doing what he did in college. He was their stud on defense, and he got a lot of turnovers. He was in the right position. He was very physical. So the youth that is pushing the vets on this team is very nice because, Baskerville is not a name that no one has spoken of as fighting for a roster position. But, I guess he saw that depth chart come out and he was like, yo, why's my lane last on here? And then, the next padded practice, he goes out and has a couple picks and a nice tackle. So, these are very good problems to have. And the power of polls compels you.
Hey, like Desmond just said, Demond just said, yeah. Andrew Billington sounds like he's in a lot better shape. And I know they were just talking about Micah Baskerville. Micah Baskerville, he looked really good on tape. I wouldn't say he's an extraordinary. What I saw on tape was an extraordinary linebacker, but he's got solid traits about him that if you hone your technical ability and ability to be able to read keys in a zone defense, you can make yourself very, very effective. And the more you learn in a zone type of a scheme, the better you become because you understand the influences around you, the pieces around you, and how to play alongside with them. And so, like, I will say this, man, and I've been saving this one, but I'm gonna say it. I think how people tell you that the D-line is the engine of the defense. It's true, but those Pistons couldn't fire without that linebacking core behind them. And the defensive coordinator and the head coach, they know you need a stable of thoroughbreds because they take the brunt of the action in every game. Linebackers take the brunt of the action, and they're responsible for whether teams get off the field or not. The reason why series get extended, you need thoroughbreds at linebackers, and they're doing their due diligence in free agency and in UDFA market, and the guys they brought in recently, plus the guys we already had, they're doing their due diligence to make sure that linebacker stable is full of thoroughbreds. You gotta have that. I feel really good about that spot, man, and I'm, more so than pretty much all the positions on the field. I mean, all the position rooms on the field. That one really makes me feel good, and I know it has to be like your strongest component. So it really makes me. That's part of the reason why I'm so optimistic about this. That room right there is going to get them off the field a lot of times and give Justin the ball often and give him another chance to put a score on the board.
And in many cases, our starters from last year are now fighting for jobs or potential roster spots. And I think that really speaks to the compelling power of polls, as my friend may would have said here in this situation. He's done a great thing with that linebacking core. He's done a great thing with that secondary. I'm very impressed across the board. I'm starting to see what that line is doing, that front seven. And guys, for a very beat up defense last year, I think it's going to look a heck of a lot different this year. I think we're going to have a defense that might spend a bunch of turnovers. That's really what I think is going to happen this year.
Yeah, with the hopefully enhanced pressure up front and the ball hawking players on every level that we've acquired. A lot of short fields for the offense. I'm looking forward to that.
One more quick note that I took note of this when Flus was talking. Somebody asked him about because they're all the reporters were, hey, it's a lot of false starts out there, and that kind of spread around on Twitter. Yeah, on the surface, to people who don't know, it looks like, okay, that's an undisciplined bunch. What they didn't know, and Flus went to the podium and asked a question about that very comment. He said, well, we just actually installed a whole bunch of new cadences. And so what you can do, what you can do, and this is me paraphrasing him, what you can do with a cadence is keeping defense off balance. You know why? Because defenses like to jump the snap count. So if you become a little bit too routine and going to the line of scrimmage and getting off the ball on one or getting off the ball on two with the same kinds of looks, a team and defensive lines, man, they are professional football players. They watch the ball. They get off the ball and they try to jump the ball and they try to get across before as the ball is actually starting to. And if you get a jump on the guy that's trying to block you, it's a fair chance you're going to put him on his skates. And so they're always looking for an advantage in that way. So if you have a viable cadence that can really alter a defense, man, you really want to install as many of those as you can. So Justin they went out there with that game plan today. They installed some different cadences, and Justin took advantage. I think I think he said at the presser, Kyler Gordon hit it right behind a blitz that Kyler Gordon came off the edge on, hit it right behind him, knew it. As soon as he saw it, went to the right audible, went to the right cadence, and boom, right behind Kyler Gordon. That's the kind of stuff you want to hear, which is second-year quarterback in the West Coast system. Identifying where the holes are and the weaknesses, using the cadence to your advantage, and identifying the blind spot and taking advantage.
Again, that's really them practicing due diligence and practicing details. That's really what that comes down to. I can't, I wish Braggs was here so I could ask him whether he saw them practicing cadence as a regular thing in previous years, because I know he's been out there, more than once. This is not his first rodeo. That being the case, it would be interesting to see if they really looked at cadence and that more granular level of detail previously. I'm glad that they're doing it now. Hey, if it turns into some practice, penalties, who cares? It's a better time to do it right now than not do it at all. Coach Matt Nagy is in the chat.
King Booker World. That's exactly why you come to the Nomad Network. He said, King Booker said, CHDO didn't mention that. They just said the O-line played bad. See, context is needed. That's exactly why we exist. So it's not always an excuse for some bad play, but every now and again, people will see things, and without context, you'll run to a conclusion and think something is really going on wrong. But yeah, you got to work through those kinks of cadences. You can use it as a weapon, and apparently they didn't know what the script was, and they just saw a bad looking play out there and they ran with it.
Our audio podcast listeners on Spotify or iTunes, and soon wherever you find your podcast, but they can appreciate one of these examples I'm about to use. The first one, if you have a defense that knows that you're going on blue 42, hut, hut. After you say that hut, hut, they know you're going, as opposed to changing it up as blue 42, hut, hut, hut. That little hesitation is going to throw off the timing of the defense attackers. And then now the example that you won't hear is when they come up to the line and maybe a noisy situation or in a 2-minute drill, or just to change up the rhythm of the offense, they'll come to the line and, there'll be a silent count and there'll be a signal where they tap on each other. And so all of these cadences and various situations have to be practiced. And, now's the time to do that. And being that it is practice, it's gonna not be perfect all the time, which is fine, which is understandable. But like Ed said, now's the time to
do that now.
To learn that and do that now. So when it's game time and it's a game situation, everybody's on the same page.
It's not even just same pace. Sorry to cut you off, Nomad. It's also a weapon, right? And we've watched other quarterbacks use this as a weapon against us. So by all means, test this out, try this out. If this is something that they can more or less perfect, amazing. They can utilize that speed, that count, right? They can utilize that against other teams and catch linebackers off guard, catch defenses completely off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Nomad.
No, I mean, that's all good information, man. It is definitely a weapon when you can use it appropriately, when you can use it effectively, and you have good command of it. Well, who was really good at that? Aaron Rodgers is really good at that. Really good at cadence, speeding up to the line when he sees a weakness. I mean, he's really good. That comes with savvy. That just comes with savvy. Justin will get there. He will learn that. It will be a point in his career where no defense will fool him, which is why I love the fact that he's playing against a zone defense, a zone-based defense every day, which is the hardest ball to fit. I mean, hardest. Basically, there's lanes in that defense, man, and it's hard to fit balls in it sometimes because you can't necessarily know exactly when. You might think you see a hole, but it could be a player baiting you to go into a hole. So it's great that he practices against a good defense like this every day, a good long defense. We have some really long players on the first and second level. The fact that he's getting to play against that is going to be to his advantage in the long run. But I digress because we have to get out of here. Let's go through a couple of star questions before we close out the show.
All right. There was
questions or comments in the star section. Do you know where they are? I got you. I got you.
I got you, brother. I got you.
Here we go. Demont, you got that?
I got you.
Do we have a combo? No, so I answered that one already. I thought it was Patrick Willis. Daryl Gibson.
How will Mooney fit in the offense with Scott emerging as a quicker and faster version of Darnell Mooney?
Well, I would say this. I think we're too early to jump on. I think you should be excited about Tyler Scott. This is how this coach operates. This coach won't give you a snap count if he's not sure of what you be secure with the ball. Right now, Tyler Scott has not been secure with the ball in practice by all accounts that I've heard. You know, he's got his days where he's the star of the camp, and then the next day he's dropping 3 and 4 balls. They're gonna need. They know what they have in Mooney. Mooney's gonna get his snaps. He's gonna get the ball. Tyler Scott will have to earn his. They love that guy, but he's gonna have to get more consistent in practice before he even gets a pitch count. And so you might see 2 or 3 plays throughout a game for Tyler Scott, and he might not touch the ball. You know, he might go in motion and run a route and run somebody off just to get somebody a ball underneath. But until they feel comfortable with his ball security, I think he's going to have to work to get into the game.
Another one from Daryl Gibson. Can Mooney carve out intermediate routes in this offense? His hands are more consistent than Scott, but speed kills.
I think I answered a whole lot of that. Mooney is.
I agree.
Yeah, he's a proven veteran, man. They know what they have in him.
One from the Ghost of Judah tribe. Man, whoever receiver number 3 is might just have a big season. It's going to be tough on teams with our number 1 and our number 2.
That's a good point. I
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Trip.
No, go ahead and finish up with the start questions, and then I'll finish up my comment on my last comment.
All right.
Yeah, I completely agree with this one though. I've been saying it for a while. Who are you going to double team? Somebody, because these defenses are going to have to make that decision, and a guy like Tyler Scott's going to eat. A guy like Darnell Mooney's going to eat. Can't wait to see it, right? Like it's as simple as that. And don't count out those running backs for pass catching. Don't count out those tight ends for pass catching either. This offense can be very explosive at this point, and I'm excited to see that. We'll move on to Sun Taurus 9. Do polls bite the bait on trade? Burns and Bosa being contracts not being negotiated yet? Is it a possibility?
That's a good question, man. I don't know the situation with either one of those guys. I don't know which Bosa you're talking about, whether it's Joey or Nick. Burns in Carolina, you know what you're talking about. That guy's going to want big money. And we just grabbed Unique Ngakoue. I would say and I'm sure he was part of the trade bait.
That's what I was about to say. Well, sorry, I was about to say.
And so, I mean, as far as Burns goes, I put it to you like this, Sun Taurus 9. Just ask that question. I would say looking forward into the draft, will there be a pass rusher that's better than him? Will they rather use their resources on a guy that they are sure about, or would they willing to take their chances in the draft? That would be the question. I don't know that either Bosa is even on the radar for this team, but I know Burns for a fact was. And so it's basically vice versa. The known quantity, rather, versus what you project in the draft. I haven't started studying the draft yet. So I'm really not qualified to answer that, but we'll see here after the season.
I'll give a little speculation there. Burns was a part of that DJ Moore trade. They originally wanted both of them. They said one or none, and they took DJ as well as the picks. All the more reason for us to root against the Carolina Panthers this year, so we can ensure that our pick situation is good. which leads to our next question. Can somebody please explain to me about the draft pick that we get from Carolina Panthers for the next year's draft?
It's whatever their pick would be is ours. Since we they took our number one position, we took DJ Moore, their first round pick for the next 2 years, and then a second round pick or something like that. And so wherever they end up in the next year's draft is ours. So hopefully it's top 5. I'm just saying, let's put that out there.
Basically, the success of their season determines how high we pick with that pick. So that's how that works out. But Trip, you had something to say before we get out of here?
Well, on that note, 2 things real quick. Somebody that we did not mention that impressed me today. When he came off the field, he took a analytical observation of his performance for full optimization and utilized the physical tools and talents of the professionals that he was able to rely on for their expertise to improve and understand the physical aspects and of where to be to increase his game, as well as getting strong in the lower end. So shout out to Braxton Jones, who I heard put Ngakwe, our hired assassin, into the pancake factory today. Has some nice syrup and butter on him, And then also real quick before we get out of here, the Nomad Network, whether it be Nomad Live or Nomad at Night, we're all about the edification of our fans. And it's actually, yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. And the author is Arthur Doyle, published in 1902. It's the third of 4 crime novels by a British writer and author featuring Detective Sherlock Holmes. And I made another Chicago reference that kids didn't know, and I'm sure other people. Family Classics is a Chicago television series which began in 1962 when Fraser Thomas appeared on another program at WGN. And that other program was Bozo Circus. He was the host of the grand prize game and all that fun stuff. So yes, when we make the references here, let's back them up. Let's share a little knowledge with the people. Big up Alex Shapiro for kicking off the conversation.
So in other words, Trip just can't stand that when we have to wrap up the show. He likes when the camera is rolling and he likes to stretch it out. But God bless it, man. Hey, listen, man, I love you guys in the chat. Can't say it enough. Always going to keep repeating it because I mean it. It comes from my heart, man. And I say that on behalf of the Nomad Network, Nomad Live, and my guy Kids, and my guy Triple R, sending positive vibe to Samo, man. Hey, man.
What's up?
Seriously, positive vibrations, man. Good vibrations to Samo, man. So with that being said, I just wanted to say to you guys one more time, love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Garfield Goose, bear down.
Bear down, baby.